chunk thing first before we go into that full on. Yeah, and then we break it down there with that where we break it open, where you do that slide, right there. We were almost there. After the chunk thing.
Yeah, just do that verse for a second.
Yeah, just we'll go out of that chorus. Click. I don't know. I believe I'll leave it at we recorded this time around at the Audio Lab here in Boise, Idaho, and it's been really great. Here we go. Number one.
Been a fan for a long time. I really loved the first two records, and then they started touring down in Texas and got to go out and see the band live. And I've been, known Johnny forever.
Cody called a few months back and asked if I would like to be involved in engineering the project. And of course I said yes.
Amongst the pandemic and everything like that, it actually worked out kind of perfect timing to where none of us were on the road. None of us, we were all kind of looking for something to do.
Working with Cody Braun is, it's kind of like being with Robbie. He's an old friend and it's like part of the family.
So if you're thinking about money while you spend your time living for
Robbie was working here. It was a bigger space, and it felt like something to kind of graduate into with having everybody, a part of the project. We had the extra room, and it was just a great space.
It's been good having Cody being here and kind of having somebody who's not in the band kind of direct, lead a little bit, different ideas that the band wouldn't really necessarily come up with themselves.
The addition of Tommy, recently was great. I think a great add to the band, and having three brothers, the harmonies have really come around.
My first studio experience has been really good so far. It's just been like a very chill environment, kind of, and just positive, which made it really easy to just adapt to just a new experience for me.
There's room to be faster.
Yeah.
It's not going to be step on anything.
Yeah, that's where I'm feeling it the most.
It feels like a little faster.
Okay. Having Cody work on this project with us was great. I mean, it kind of, we're used to playing as a four-piece band, and so a lot of the things that we do is just filling that space. On the road. That's kind of, you can make the most money that way. But when you go in the studio, it kind of turns into a different thing, and so it was really nice to have Cody there to kind of, show my brothers and me, what to do and kind of, lay back a little bit.
More, yeah, the piano kind of helps fill out that the very low end that we need, and that's it. We had Brian Davies on steel guitar. I'd never got to work in the studio with Brian, been a fan since I was a kid. He played with the famous Motel Cowboys.
And then Brian Davies, oh my God.
Brian, again, we go way back, and I'm just always happy to see him. We always have a great time and a special bond, and he's as good a steel player as there is.
Well, my involvement came when I was introduced to Tylor, the 2019 Famous Motel Cowboy reunion. Maybe it's 2018 Cowboy reunion.
I was thinking about having some pedal steel on Best of the Worst Kind, and our good buddy Jim Humps said, well, you gotta have this guy.
Jim Humphreys introduced me and said, this guy needs to play on your next CD.
It's the same old story in another nutshell. You can try it telling time, but time will only tell. Throw your worries to the winter time until winter time is gone, and then find some sweetened water, pour your lemons on.
It's been nice collaborating with everyone because we were doing stuff live, it was kind of, I wouldn't have played some of the same things on bass without even just having Brian play pedal steel and kind of bring me somewhere else.
This morning to the world's worst cup of coffee. I made it myself, so I am the one to blame. I drank the whole damn pot, you know I wouldn't want to waste it. Sometimes it turns out, but it never tastes the same. And
3, you wrote a song about my house.
away when dealing with worst fears, those tears won't do you any good. There's a fog upon the rise, it covers up my eyes, makes me turn back the other way. If I could just foresee another mile, 2 or 3, I'd turn back now or try it on for size.
Well, Bernie, gosh, he was one of the first guys I met when I moved to Boise. I was trying to put a band together. I hadn't met everybody in town yet. Bernie was one of the guys on the list for a guitar player, and so he was one of the early Train Robbers.
Bernie is just a force of nature, and such an eclectic musician, and so intuitive. And when we did 10 tracks in about 6 hours.
Bernie, man, what a talent! He's so cool. We had a blast with him in the studio, and yeah, he came in and played like I think 10 tracks in 6 hours on 4 or 5 different instruments.
I guess I did. I think piano on 2 songs, banjo on 2 songs, accordion on 1, organ on maybe 2 songs. So. Yeah, it was a good day. Got a lot done. Well, that's another thing that's been different about this time. You know, when we recorded the other times, we had been playing the songs for quite a while live before we recorded them.
Before, we were always on the road and just kind of, whenever we had time to record, we'd go in and do a few songs and then kind of take a break and be on the road again.
On this project, it was great. I got to work with the guys early on, work with Tylor on the songs, and we kind of sent stuff back and forth and really made sure we had the right songs that went together and enough songs. And
this time around, it was like we lived here, we built the songs, we laid out a nice foundation and built the songs the way they needed to be. And
they worked on them, worked on a lot of great arrangements here, and then we didn't work on them too much where they kind of got worn out, so we got in here and were able to kind of just create a lot of stuff in the studio together, which I thought was really fun, and I think we got some really great stuff. So
musically, it's the way it's coming together. I think it's going to be fantastic.
There ain't nothing wrong with being proud of where you're from, as long as you ain't dragged down by the town that raised you. You can join the choir or the coyotes on the hill. Find yourself yourself waiting for the chorus or that full moon to fill.
Getting to have the third part harmonies with my brothers, getting to have both my brothers be a part of this project was amazing. It opened up a whole nother avenue of things we could do with the vocals. Like, we never had that third part. Jason's always sang great harmonies, but now we could be the Eagles, right? Or we could be those people that we listen to.
What do they say with the Louvin brothers? Brother harmony. It's like there's nothing like it. So
It's amazing. I mean, we've been able to do this live for a year since I've been in the band, but it's nice to be able to put it onto a track and just blend really well with, or in my opinion, blend really well with Tylor and Jason.
Having Tommy in there singing the low harmony, and because I would record 2 harmonies on the last album, it's just nice having similar voices, but you can tell they're different people.
It's like they finish each other's sentences. It's like, so a lot of times it seems like they're thinking with one mind, and especially with singing together, you know, that sibling harmony, the blend is great.
it's very cool that it's not just another band. You know, it's definitely like a family affair. So that's a nice vibe.
They know the same jokes. They know the same. The family thing is wonderful. It really is.
So I sang on 2 tracks on this one. The first one is called Jenny Lynn. So it's about me, Jenny Lynn.
It's a song about being on the road and being away from my wife Jen, and you know how that phone call can get you through the day.
I've been falling for you lately. Hell, I've fallen for you before, unaware that there was a fall much further. It didn't occur that I could fall straight through the floor. I've been flying for you, baby, flying, trying for so much more. There's only so much right now.
Some of these songs are so just deep, and
They're
they
deep.
keep going.
They are deep, and you know, when you work with somebody that's like a songwriter that, and an author or whoever, that, you know, you're doing another project, but always you strive to have a better, or, you know, more exciting book, more exciting, you know, better songs, more intriguing songs, better, you know, not better musicians, but just, you know, a great collaboration between musicians.
The band together in this version with Tylor, Jason, and Tommy, 3 brothers in the studio recording together for the first time, and then my dad, who's just been with Tylor since the beginning, really, of this formation of the Train Robbers. So they are already so connected as musicians, plus now their family, son-in-law, father-in-law.
Johnny was one of the first guys that really kind of sat down with me and taught me how to finish a song. You know, it's like I always came up with these songs, and if I figured out how to play them in front of people, then I thought they were finished. But you know, Johnny kind of, you know, he gave me some direction on how to really look at things and make sure that they're there for a reason and not just there because that's the best you can come up with. You know,
The songs were Tylor's, you know, grown and now even more amazing as a songwriter than he was before.
That does sound better. It's pretty cool. that an old Ringo trick?
Two heads are better than one.
Yeah. To me, I think there's more of a just a mix of songs and wider variety of tunes than on the other records. I think they're stretching out and moving in some. Tylor's writing is moving in some forward directions, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. There's long songs, short songs, country rock, even more rock and sort of folkish front porch kind of things. I think it's great. Mr. Johnny Shoes, there just isn't a better guitar player around, and I think his tones, what he can play.
Johnny's he's one of those players who he sounds like a record every time he plays. There's no noodling, there's no overplaying. It's just like right there.
He's one of the few players that I've played with that listens to the lyrics, and there's a lot of give and take on this album. There's a lot of lyric, and then here's the guitar part, or here's the pedal steel part, or whatever. And Johnny's the best at, like, he listens to the lyrics and then he uses the lyrics to come up with his lick, which just ties everything together so nicely.
For me, some of what I would normally do when we play as just a four-piece band, I'm covering a lot more territory, and now I can just have selected parts and be part of the bigger sound.
It's refreshing to see a band do things the right way and work really hard at their craft. And there's so many bands out there these days that spend all their time worrying about their image and the marketing, and they spend all their time working on Facebook and social media and all that stuff, and they forget to go and practice, and actually work on their songwriting.
Well, you can stick around for much too long and still be the first one to make it out. Well, I've been here just long enough. I'm jonesing hard for a walkabout.
Johnny had worked with Robbie in the early days. Same with Cody. When Cody was a little kid, he was recording with Rob, and then Cody being in a band with his brother, and growing up with a family band and all that. It just fit really nicely with what we do with the brother harmony.
There's something about this town. I'll do my best to be elsewhere bound, but like a boomerang, I'll keep coming back around. On my plans for big change. So adios for now.
The studio is fantastic. Having Robbie be mixing is fantastic. The new board in the studio is making everything sound like $2 million.
It's been really smooth, and Rob's been doing a great job making us sound good.
Working with Rob Matson is kind of like the dream coming true, and personally, for the whole project, for everyone, what he adds and brings to it is amazing on so many levels.
Now, I've been working with him since I was a little kid, and did our first records with him when we were kids with my dad and my brothers.
He's an old friend, and we've played music together in bands and as an acoustic duo, and I've gotten to record with him in the past before he moved away to Nashville and stayed away way too long.
And we brought him in on some Reckless Kelly records in Austin. He's an incredible engineer and a great guy and a great player, great singer. He just adds so much to the project, whatever you're working on. And I I was thrilled to find out that he had moved back to Boise and was working here at Audio Lab.
I have been working with Robbie since the late 1970s. I met him, I think, then after he got out of he might have still been going to Boise State School of Music, getting his degree, and he was playing with Penno Bennett and the Republicans, I believe was the name of the band in those days. But we just got to know each other, and we played at Pengilly's together, and then Robbie built a studio. And all through the 80s, I recorded with him a lot of projects. I would come in and sort of be a gun for hire for whoever was recording at his studio. And so Robbie and I have worked together for over 30 years. Really, over 30 years, because I've been married almost 30 years, and I knew Robbie before I met my wife. So selfishly for me, you know, on top of just making the album, I get to spend time with my old friend Rob.
Entwining on my mind, I'm feeling so inclined to find the truth.
Having Cody and Rob be a part of the project was kind of perfect because, you know, they're both from Idaho. They both came from Idaho. They both know the Pinto Bennett and the Motel Cowboys. That sound is like very Idaho, and we've always kind of wanted to throw that into our music. It's mixed with the Texas stuff. It's mixed with the Oklahoma stuff, but we always really wanted to show the Idaho colors too.
Having Cody Braun as the producer, that was the smartest thing, in my opinion, that Tylor could have done, was to get somebody to wrangle all this together and make it a project manager to come in and produce us and make a good project out of it.
Cody, his vision, he's got such great vision for the project, and that's the thing, is that he can see the forest for the trees. When you're involved in the band and trying to produce an album and you're within the band, it's really hard to see the forest for the trees. And so that's producer's job, and he's really good at that.
It was just like this moment for Tylor where he could just be there in the studio and be in his creative space the whole time and not worrying about the little details, because he knew that those little details were going to be picked up by one of the other people who were kind of cradling this project in their arms and carrying it along.
I mean, one of my first CDs in my first truck was a Reckless Kelly album, Bulletproof. And I never ever would have thought that, somebody on that album would be producing one of my albums someday. When I sit back and think, it's like a lot of my influences and how I write and the music I like to listen to came from Reckless Kelly and came from the people that Cody's played with, and he was on a Steve Earle album. They played with Joe Ely, and they play, like all these people that have played the reunion, and that Cody's got to know over the years. It's just like all my big influences. So it was like getting to have literally somebody that I learned from and was influenced by come in and listen and work on my music. It's really a dream come true.
It's a full circle thing for me. Some of these guys I've known for over 30 years, and now I'm getting to play with young musicians that are so talented. It's just, it's the most rewarding phase in my 40-some year music career is this.
So they're going to go on the bridge, so tutum, and then tutum, back off the bridge. Yeah. Yes, back, yes. There it is.
I saw a rib cage reflecting from the sun, just like the last mule deer shed had done.
Tylor's writing really great songs, and it's it's really a pleasure to be part of it, because I know people are going to really dig it, and it's different. It's really hard to come up with your own sound, and I feel like these guys have that.
Yeah, I really was noticing how much the songwriting has evolved. There's just a lot of different styles.
Tylor did such an amazing job of lyrically, of like setting the tone.
This is a great songwriter that has just, some of these new songs are little novels, and let your mind run away with it.
The songs, I think people are going to really have a good time listening to and soaking up, because the lines are great. They have a lot more meaning than just what they're saying. It's really well thought out. It's really well put together. It's not just a bunch of rhymes in a row.
She had her purse hung on her hip, brand new man by her side. Them's the only two things she'll need so she can survive. Well, she finally found her way out, kinda like her sister did. A little brother wouldn't mind still being just a little kid. Then there was her parents that never got good at showing true emotion. She was a grown-up now and found a time to take a notion.
Well, let me pop in right there. Can I actually that whole verse right there? All right. I knew they were good songs. I spent so much time with the bones and the structure of just the songs themselves. But then to come in and put other instruments on them and other people and other ideas, and it was just I came out with something way better than I ever imagined, and I'm really excited for people to get to hear that. And
the other musicians that we've had on this, I mean, the whole thing just kind of follows a pattern, I think, of having not just the talent and the instruments that they're bringing to it, but also the people themselves. Bernie Reilly, Brian Davies, Cody. I mean, we kept it kind of tight knit, but those are all dear friends, as well as being amazing musicians, and we get to have them, and they definitely seem like they were having a good time, not just kind of coming in and playing a session part on any old recording. They're part of the family too.
Hearing traffic in the distance, hitting that highway bridge. Pornhub's
Been a ha. It's been a ha.
You want to hear that?
Sure.
that highway bridge. Pornhub's been a hot.
It's real low. I think we can get away with that. You just do 4 of those fucking trash can things.
This is weird, but can I do it again?
Yeah. This is weird.
Back in the distance, hitting that highway bridge. Pornhub's been a hobby I've sold.
I think that was better tone.
Yeah, I would make sure it's in time.
Yeah.
And I would just go with the same thing twice instead of.
Do you have anything you can do to simulate a pothole?
One more then, is that?
Back in the distance, hitting that highway bridge. Pornhub's been a hobby I've.
You're gonna get CDs returned. Like, my CD has a glitch in it.
Yeah.
Don't look.
Back in the distance, hitting that highway bridge. Pornhub's been a hobby
You
I've.
can barely hear just like way down in there. We're just like
That'll work. I think that's gonna be.
Probably, yeah, I mean, somebody may figure it out like,
Yeah.
5 years from now.
yeah,
They did.
there's I just
Yeah.
it's not a main thing. It's just one of those.
Paul is
Did I
dead.
hear that?
Paul is dead, yeah. That was good, wasn't it? That was right in time.
That was the finest Tupperware playing I've ever heard.
Some of it, some of the ones, yeah.
Some of the finest.
Cool. That's a wrap. teaching us what we needed to learn.
Thank you so much.
Brady gets all the credit.
Yep.
When Cody called me, I was just actually made my whole week.
That's awesome.
Really good.
Well, I've had, when I heard you were moving back to Boise, like I was, oh, we gotta have Rob, like he'll be in town. We can work with him anytime we work with him anytime we want. And then Cody suggested it, and it was what I was already had in the back of my mind, and so it was like just perfect, perfect.
The perfect storm.
The perfect storm, exactly.
These guys have done such a great job with the studio. I'd get in this console, I'd really make a difference. But that MCI was fun too. But the room sounds so great.
Yeah.
Nice mics.
You've got to touch with these.
Shake.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3.